The Gift That Always Gives Back by Crystal Gomez. There once lived a man who lived in Ireland. He was a very unfortunate guy ever since he was a little boy. It was a cold night on April 13th, 1978. Two parents were due to have their baby boy on this night. They lived in the woods in a small wooden cabin and survived by stealing the nuts of red squirrels. They couldn't afford essentials they needed. A baby added more negatives to their bank account. They decided to let the baby go. On the same day he was born, he was left in a box that labeled fragile on the side of it. Inside the box were two nuts and a quilt made of deerskin. Out in the cold, the baby wept and cried, awaking everybody in the neighborhood. Two people that go by the names of Amy and Joe found the poor baby and brought him inside. "Who would ever put a baby out in the cold like that?" Amy asked with a tear in her eye. "I don't know, but he was making a cloud above his head from how mad he was," Joe adds. "Well, if he was put all alone out in the cold like that, he probably doesn't have a name. We should name him Clouder," Amy offers. "Okay, but we can't keep him. Let's drop him off at the orphanage." Fast forward 30 years later and boom, you have Clouder. He got his name because when he was little, he would almost make a cloud appear above his head every time he was mad. Clouder now lives in a tent right beside Starbucks, where he works. He works 19-hour shifts every day of the week at Starbucks. He gets paid $17 an hour and gets monthly bonuses. He gets paid pretty well, and with that money, he can pay rent at a comfortable apartment. So why does he live in a tent? Well, growing up as an orphan was not very easy for him, but he wasn't the only one going through some difficult times. Clouder has always been very kind growing up, and as time went by, his friends took advantage of his kindness. Clouder is too empathetic and gives out all his money to the hundreds of people who ask for it. He has always been waiting for the day where he finally makes his dreams come true. Every night after work, he comes to his tent to find a line of people in need waiting in front of his mini fridge. Before he went to sleep that night, he looked at the stars and asked for a change in his life. A change that is good for him, but won't hurt other people too. 2 months came by. It was August the 12th. As usual, Clouder came to his tent with hundreds of people waiting in front of it. But this time, the people there weren't there to ask him for money. Instead, they all gave him money. The owner of that Starbucks decided to give Clouder the luxury apartment above the Starbucks for free. Clouder chose to use the space where his old tent was and convert it into a recycling shelter. Everyone who needed a home would stay there and pay in the form of recycled bottles and get paid for recycling. The next day, Clouder learned something. The gift of helping people in need always gives you back. You can still help others and get what you want. Clouder went from a rainy cloud to a cloud filled with happiness. And it turns out that his happiness poured on everyone in Ireland. The end.